Oh, come on. Why is the video acting funny? Immediately it's broken. Uh, okay. Hopefully that works now. It's like every time I go live, something breaks immediately. All right. So a couple things. Hopefully now I'll actually be able to see chats when they happen. I won't just ignore people like I've done in the past. If you are watching, would you mind dropping a comment just so I can see if my little chat thing's working? Oh, already got 4 people watching on Facebook. What's YouTube looking like? Oh, yes. A whole lot of nobody. Maybe I should put these side by side so I can see them easier. Hello, test. Hey, look at there. It showed up on the screen. Thank you, Gary. It didn't go ding in my ear, which is like it's supposed to, but it's there at least. Oh, Gary, I need to figure out how to like have guest appearances on here so you can just like hang out with me and ask me questions. Because I feel like it's just boring listening to me for 2 hours. Let's see. I need to send. Oh, I need to plug my phone up primarily. Oh, I got a ding that time. Just like old times. That's right. Except with less games and... Oh. Just like old times. Let's see. See if we can't get a couple of people to come hang out with us. Alright, so what are we working on tonight? I don't know if you can see in the background here, we have 3D printers. And while the 3D printers I use, called Prusa, do come with a relatively good cloud-based management system, it doesn't do everything I want it to do. The neat thing about them is that they all have a local API that you can hit over the local network. And so my thought was, why not create a web-based application that I can host here, connect to the various local printers, and manage them locally without having to rely on the internet. And it can just do exactly what I want it to do. Now, I've already done quite a bit of work on that. Well, Claude's done quite a bit of work on it. And I'm hoping that we're in a position where I can actually show it off some. So let's get started here. First, let's fire up our tmux. Oh. There we go. Now, let's good place to get started here is to just go ahead and open a couple of new windows here because we're gonna need them. Let's see here. I had started on a, yeah. Thank you, sir. Where did that come from? Did that come from Facebook? It came from Facebook. Okay. I need to figure out a way so that it'll actually tell me where it comes from. So if I need to respond, like type respond, I can go find it. So I'm using this this open source app called what's on the screen there? It's called the Social Stream Ninja. And basically I connect it to all the places this is streaming to, and it watches the chats and then makes it into a little web page that I then embed in OBS. And in theory, it makes a little ding whenever it sees a new chat. Because if you didn't know this, I use a tool called Cloudflare, so I'm streaming to Cloudflare, and then Cloudflare is actually streaming to like 6 different places, including, I feel like I'm getting some feedback. Where is that coming from? Dirt. No, I don't know. That's weird. Okay. So it's, man, just sometimes I can hear almost like a little bit of a delayed echo in my ear, and it's freaking me out. So anyways, I use Cloudflare, and then it sends it to like 6 different places, which is 2 inputs at YouTube, 2 inputs at Facebook, and 2 inputs at Twitch. So you can actually watch the same exact stream on Twitch, YouTube, or Facebook, all at the same time, live. And the nice thing about that is I can actually turn the live stream on to Cloudflare, see that everything works in theory, which immediately it didn't work when I went live on the actual endpoints, and then Cyberdyne. Yes, actually, that is what we're here today. We are programming Cyberdyne Inc. To take over the world. It's funny. I was just discussing with somebody the other day about all the cool things that you can do with AI and things that aren't very good for AI. But there is, there, as you are aware of, sir, there is a lot in the planning cycle for the various S shops when planning a mission, like a big mission or a big event. And there is a lot of that you could probably automate through AI. I'm not saying that we're going to, load up AI into dune buggies with machine guns and send it off, but... Oh! We have our UK friend from YouTube. Thanks for joining again. I actually now have... Oh, that's right. You were going to send me a link to my X. I will try to remember to do that after the stream. Sorry, I'm not an avid X user, though I do visit from time to time. But I will, where's my notepad? It is gone. Okay. Let's see here. Why don't I just get a set a reminder to check X when I get home. I'm laughing because it just set a reminder to check eggs when I get home. Which, you know what? That's good enough. That's gonna get me most of the way that I need it to get. And I need to plug my phone in before it does. I forgot that I unplugged this thing. Oh, well, I appreciate it. This is only, I think, my third stream doing the AI stuff. I once upon a time would occasionally stream video games back in the day when I had more video game bandwidth. But oh, it's my laptop. There we go. We'll mute that. Now I shouldn't hear myself on a delay. Okay. I'm a little annoyed because I thought I had a note here. I mean, yeah, it's I think we're a little ways away from being able to trust the AI to make decisions about when to shoot and not shoot. I'm not saying that we can't use it to give it input on when to shoot or not to shoot, or ask its advice, or give its thoughts, or do a quick report or review on the situation. Honestly, that's one of my favorite uses of AI is to do research. Say, you know, I was just trying to do some analysis on some budget stuff last night, and I was able to take last year's budget, this year's budget, and I just wanted to know are these 5 categories, did the budget percent go up or down? And it all went up, which matched with what someone was telling me. So, you know, I wouldn't necessarily take it on its face that it got it right, but I did use it as like a double check that, like, yes, it did go up. But some of this interesting thing for the Navy, using these automated ships as like basically missile boats where there's no people on it, they're just full of VLS tubes, and all they do is ride around the ocean following the bigger capital ships. That's a fantastic use for AI. I'd still want some meatbag pushing the button that says fire. or at least have like a on-off switch for like auto fire and not auto fire, because I know like some anti-aircraft or missile defenses kind of have to be automated to some degree. Well, you know, I was also surprised to hear that, like, what is it, Windows 98 still runs some of the old cruisers. So, you know, that's the nature of our military. It's both like on the forefront and on the back front all at the same time. I take some of the really interesting places where I think there could be some very fascinating use of AI in government is like local government, like doing permit reviews and, you know, like basically first passes, like, you know, take this 30-page document or proposal or like when I used to get vendors to make proposals for putting in fiber optic cables or something, right? Like you get this tome of documentation about the company, and you know, you could take the AI and just do a first pass and be like, you know, given these categories, does it match these categories, and give me a rating on each one and call out things and do research on the company and that sort of thing, and then take it again. 98 is it's a very stable system. Yeah, the numbers I saw, gosh, it was a little while ago, but like the amount of money that the DoD was paying for Microsoft to continue to support it, which I assume means they're still issuing bug fixes to some degree for it, but we'll see. All right. So I was under the impression that I'd saved a notes file here so that I would know where to pick up from, but now I'm not seeing it. I don't know why. I must have saved it to the wrong directory. I'm trying to think, where would I have saved that to? Because it's just 2 file names. And it's the names of the reports that I needed to kind of pick up and continue where I was going. But nonetheless, let's just roll with it. Yeah, it even remembers notes.vm. I mean, vim.notes.md. So this is right. This is the implementation plan. Okay. So oh, I know what we'll do. I have an idea. So, let's say search Redis for reports relating to Form 2. File with any that are missing. That should get what I want. So Redis, if you don't know, is like this database that's it's a non-relational database. It's more of like a document object database. So it's fast, it's quick, it's easy. And what I have this thing do is actually save what it's doing and its plans and its reports into Redis, and then that way I can give it back to it later in the future as needed. Wow, found a few more. Oh, and for those of you who are new here, you'll notice there's a lot of names attached to some of these reports. I have this little tool that automatically will go and when Claude's doing things, it'll grab a random name and it'll use that name for like reports and stuff. It's mostly just so I can have 2 different things doing the same report, and instead of it like stomping on top of each other, it'll just save it as 2 different things. Is this the dark web? Oh gosh, was it a teacher, or who was it? Somebody used to tell me, it's like, you can't be afraid of the dark places if you want to get into the computer stuff. No, this is just a terminal. It's just a very fancy terminal. Okay, so now we have all of that. Oh, you know, while I have y'all here, if I could brag for a moment. I hope Gary's still here. I've been actually wanting to text him this. It's only taken 2 years or so, but I have my buddy and I now have our first patent. Yay! It has nothing to do with software. It has nothing to do with technology, other than we used a 3D printer to make it and CAD to design it. It has nothing to do with computers or anything like that related. But I just I always thought that was so cool. You are not going to say who asked. Well, I mean, should I say that Richard asked, or that my dad asked? I don't know. Oh, Gary was here to see that. Sweet, yeah. Yeah, I know some people will be like, whatever. It's for a moment? I don't know what you mean by moment, sir. All right, so what I want to know is, where are we? So we'll put it on plan mode, which upgrades it to the smarter module or model. So AI, you have different models. They have different capabilities, different specialities, and what have you. And you have like a thing called tokens, and tokens represent chunks of data. And tokens is your currency. The input tokens cost a certain amount. The output tokens cost a certain amount. I have a plan that gives me a certain number of tokens every few hours, every few days, and every few weeks. And the Opus, the more powerful model, uses those up faster. So I usually use Opus for planning, and then you drop down to the slightly less smarter one to do the actual implementation, because I just have Opus figure out what I'm going to do, and then I have the other ones just execute on it. So, review recent plans and reports. Look at the current. And tell me where we are at on the road to MVP. So in software, MVP is the minimally viable product. You get like the minimally smallest little bit, and then you iterate and you iterate, you iterate. You said, let me brag for a moment. You brag sometimes back in the day, but very reserved bragging. I'll say, oh, thank you, sir. Thank you. Yes. Yes, it only costs a lot of money, and it only took years in making, and lawyers and government officials and paperwork, lots and lots of paperwork, for something that I honestly thought would be so simple that it couldn't possibly be patentable, but it turns out it was novel enough to be patentable. I will say, so using AI for this sort of work is nice to give you some bandwidth to go work on something else at the same time. Like, you can kind of think about what the next step is. You can actually have another tab doing another task. You can talk with your friends. Hey! Welcome. Yes, it has been a very, very long time. Okay. I heard an echo again that time. Something is still echoing in my ear. Let's, That's not it. Gosh, I haven't even looked at SHIB in forever. That was always fascinating. Oh! So, if you'll notice here on the screen, you'll see the context until auto compact. So, AI has a context window, And that's how many tokens it can think about at any given time. And once its memory, its short-term memory gets full, its context window, it needs to compress it. Now, again, it's not that much different from humans, right? Like, if you're trying to work on too many things at once, you'll start forgetting about stuff. And I will tell you that I have never had a particularly good experience with the auto compact. It just, I don't know. It just seems to forget essential things. That's the best way I can put it. All right. Yeah, it's weird. Like every now and then, if I just have something really short, like an exclamation, oh, I can hear almost like an echo. Like there's some sort of reverb setting somewhere in some filter that I have going on, but I can hear it in my ear, and it's just enough to like throw me off. Okay, phase 1 of 4 done. Would you like for me to proceed? Oh no. No. No, keep planning. So, save your findings to Redis. So, oh, I don't know if that's going to work or not. Rather than have it figure all this up again, I'm going to save the report, and then bring that report back in, and then start from there with a new context window. Is there a stupid AI? Oh yeah, man. There's all kinds of real stupid. Claude here has 3. It's got Sonnet, Opus, and Haiku. Haiku's not very smart, but for basic document review, it's good enough. So I've got a couple of AI agents that I've written that use the Haiku to like basically do shoot, what do you call it? Proofreading. It's not much. It's not good for much more than that. All right, so it has saved it, and we're gonna clear. And that, when you clear, you are in effect firing that Claude and hiring a new one. New one has no idea what we're working on, why we're doing it, or what we're here to do. So we will start off with plan mode, review the report in Redis at key. Pair for a on phase 2 of the MVP. Yeah. And I am all in on some Linux. I tell you, for work, I've been dragged kicking and screaming into the MacBook world, and it drives me up the wall. I can't stand it. I just want to live in Linux. Oh gosh, was it my dad the other day asked me about Windows? I haven't even. I think the computer that we use on Sundays for church slides or whatever is Windows, and that's about all of my interaction with Windows for the last, I don't know, decade. I can't stand it. Especially whatever the latest version, what is it, 11 or 12? Whatever the latest version of Windows is. It's just awful. Okay. it is interesting, this this timeline estimate. It never seems to get this right. To be fair, it always seems to be like it's planning that like teams of humans are going to do this, but even if teams of humans were going to do it, I wouldn't agree with its timeline estimates, but whatever. It is what it is. So no, we're going to say keep planning, and I'm going to tell it to do a couple things. So, hey, let's try something. I want to try something that I just set up for the first time. There we go. So what we've done here is we have ourselves a plan, right? There we go. It's going to say, I want to do item 1. Oh, yeah. 2, 3, 4. Oh, wow. I can't type today. Item 1, 2, 3, 4. Whatever. And, let me lock this so it stops. There we go. And it's, you know, whatever. And what it wants to do is it wants to run off and do it. Right? But we've already filled up our context window. Oh, here we go. We'll blaspheme a little bit. Our context windows is already full of it trying to figure out what it wants to do with this plan. And if it gets some way down this list, let's say we manage to get like halfway through the... Oh, nope. We get halfway through our list here and it has to do a compact. It's going to forget a lot about what it's done, what it needs to do, and just it's not going to go well. So instead, what we want it to do is make a new plan. That instead of it doing the things, it's going to have a series of lists, right? There we go. It's going to have a series of things as well. Excuse me while I use this tool for the very first time live on TV. The difference here is we're going to have an agent do it. Right? And the cool thing about that is now, instead of one context window, I'm sure if you're following along, you're like, yes. We now have, in this example, 4 context windows. And the thing I always like, test, ACK, sync. The nice thing about here is that each one of those agents has its own sub window, context window, and so it can go in and focus on its little task. It doesn't need to know about everything and like everybody. It just needs to know enough context to take care of its task. And something that I often remind people when working with AI and agents and whatnot is that it's just like with people. If you try to work on a big piece of software or a big project, even like, it doesn't matter whether it's deploying a new computers, rolling a new ERP, setting up a new database, like whatever this big overarching project is, You know, how do you eat a whale? One bite at a time. So you chunk it up. You say, hey, you and your team work on this section. You and your team work on this section. And you sit back and you keep the whole context to yourself. But even the overarching person doesn't even need to know the minutia of the individual. It just needs to know enough to coordinate at their level. Military talk about span of control, right? Like, if you have too many things under you, you just can't keep it in your mind at all times. So by doing it this way, you have your coordinating agent, which is the thing we're going to interface with, and then you have sub-agents. So let's go back to doing it. So I'm going to tell it to update your plan so that each major step is by a new sub agent. Use the Python. This is all a Python application. Python dev is an agent that I wrote. If anyone's interested, just mention it in the chat, and I'll actually show you the contents of this, the source code for this agent. It's shockingly simple. So you could write your own is what I'm trying to get at. Update your plan so that each major step is completed by a new sub-agent. Use the Python dev agent. Ensure your plan includes text and information that a junior dev could complete the work. So this is where I'm making use of that SMART model to make really detailed plans for it to then be executed elsewhere. I cannot read that. Windows Paint. Man, I don't know who just chatted, but if you see in the live screen here, oh, there it is. It's weird on the stream thing. It's like just the top of the hair in the hand. Weird. Okay, so what was I saying? Man, totally lost my context window. So I'm using the SMART model to produce a plan that the slightly dumber model can follow. And the way I do that is to tell it, like, hey, you're giving instructions to a junior dev, right? You're giving them as much context as they're going to need to execute it. That then means that the next or when the sub-agent runs, it doesn't need to know everything. It just needs to know, do this work. Stephanie and Stephanie Hatcher. Are you chatting from two? Yes, you are. You're Facebooking and YouTubing. Thanks for driving up my metrics, sweetie. Hopefully the sound's good tonight. That has been the one thing that I've struggled with for every live stream. Like, either the music's too loud, the music's too low, I forget to unmute myself for half the stream. Multitasking. Yeah, I bet so. We need household sub-agents, and that's my next figure out. I mean, I guess we do have 3 household sub-agents. We just got to get them old enough and trained enough. All right. Okay, so there we go. So it is going to pass this off to the Python dev. Oh, let me tell it to not worry about Octoprint. The MVP does not need to support a cleaning robot. Yeah, well, we just gotta convince Charlie. What I think you should do is put me up on the big screen and let them watch TV. I'm sure they would be absolutely fascinated by this. How are we doing? How's our metrics going? Oh man, we got a few people. That's cool. Okay, so now I'm going to say keep planning, but we're not actually going to keep planning. I'm just doing this to get it out of plan mode. Save your plan to Redis. There we go. So, let's fire this guy again. Now, I have this tool that I've written called Execute Plan. I pass in the Redis key, and I say yeehaw. There you go. Got the plan. All right, so if you'll see here now, it's got this red bit for Python dev. This is the subagent, the job title of the subagent. So it's the subagents that I've written and use a lot here, you can actually find on my GitHub. It's just Gary Hatcher on GitHub, and I call it my clods, and you can see all of the different workflows and tools, commands, so on and so forth available there. But the Python dev is the name of the basically the file that defines what a Python dev is, and it's effectively just a plain speak, just natural language job description. You are an expert Python developer. You do X, Y, and Z. You use UV for Python package management. You use this for testing. So this is probably going to take a while. While we wait, does anyone have a question about AI that they're curious about? It doesn't have to be about development. One of the things I've actually enjoyed using AI for is non-development things like research or data analysis, like textual data analysis. Like, read this bill from Congress and tell me about it. Actually, while we wait, why don't we do that? I will, let's see, switch over to, let me think about what we're going to do first. What's something I need to research? Of course, I'd get to Friday and not have anything on top of my mind to research. I'm just drawing a blank. I just can't. This is frustrating. Usually I'm just so in, like, oh man, I need to look at this. I need to research that. I mean, I have some ideas for like technology related things, but I'm trying to make it a little bit more generic. Yeah, let's just free will it here. All right. So this is ChatGPT. Why has this got a red line through it? There we go. First, let's do a just to walk you through how to make this the most effective use of ChatGPT. Create a project, and we'll give it a name like Making Bibb County. And I've not seen before. This is actually brand new. Let's just go with writing. Oh, no, I see now. Okay. A logo that makes sense here. A brain. There we go. Make it a blue brain. Nah, we'll make it a green brain. There we go. So the nice thing about a project is that you can do two things. You can give it instructions, which are just a series of textual information about the project that you want it to do. Let's say Markdown compatible for easy copy and paste. Yeah, that works. That's interesting. Oh. It's because, okay, there we go. Double check any references or cited numbers, stats, etc. for accuracy and for accuracy. This should well, factual is more important than anything else. For this project. So as you can see, you know, we're not writing code. We're not in the dark webs. We're just talking to it like it's a person. Let's see. Macon Bibb County. Some other things you can do are provide it with, like, oh, I keep looking at OBS instead of at the actual thing. Data sources to consider. How's our code coming? Code still coding. Okay. Official website. Boom. Oh, here's a really good example. All right, so budget. Let's hear about this budget. Budget document. Yes, there we go. Okay, so let's save this. So one of the nice things to do in projects is you can actually add files, and the best files are Markdown. The next best are like other text-based documents like PDFs, Word docs, spreadsheets, that sort of thing. Boom. Okay. And actually, something else I've noticed is that if you just say, tell me about this year's budget or something, it'll get really confused because it doesn't know what you're actually asking. So you kind of have to be very pedantic and say, analyze this file and give me a summary. So, yeah, let's do that. Consider and give me a overview of the budget. Oh, that's interesting. Expenditures, sheriff's office, big money. Fire department, big money. It's actually less money than I thought it would be. Woo! So something you have to keep in mind when doing this is that it doesn't always understand the context of things. Right? So I don't think that there's literally $73 million that it's coming in, or that isn't just sitting in a bank account. Because if I remember correctly, this is a SPLOST that passed in 2018, and the money is not accounted for yet. I don't know. I'm just a nerd guy, but I'm just showing what you can do with this, not should. Can and should are two different things. All right, so our code's back. So let's go back to it. Boom. Okay. So what does it want to do? Oh, it just wants to run a bash command. Looks like it just wants to do some tests. So before it'll do anything, it'll ask, hey, can I run this command? Hey, can I change this file? Hey, can I do this? Can I do this? Can I do that? And over time, as I say yes and don't ask me again, yes and don't ask me again, it won't ask me as much anymore. But every now and then, it'll think that something it's about to do might be a little shady, and it'll ask for permission. And this all looks completely reasonable, so I'm going to say yes, and then let it go and back to what we were talking about. Look at that. So public safety dominates the general fund. Oh. It is asking for more instructions. Bash command, uv run, report YAML, import from pathlib, import path with open. Okay, so it's just doing more tests. That's fine. All right. Are you cool? Can I look away? I will admit that sometimes this thing will get to where if I'm looking at it, it won't ask me any questions. And then as soon as I look away from it, it wants to just ask me question after question after question. But let's just go back to our little side project over here. Last year's FY25 budget. The other PDF. Oh, it's because in another project I had uploaded that file. So unless you tell it to, the different projects will like share information back and forth. I don't know. Let's explore this a little bit further. What are the Actually, I do want it. I want it to make sure that it does a search on this. I don't want it to just try to guess. That's interesting. Yeah. See if you can find that exhibit online. Yeah. One thing that OpenAI and Claude don't like to be is to not know or to not give you information. So it will give you wrong information as opposed to giving you no information. And though this is probably, both of these directions are not terrible, think it is actually available on the website. In fact, I'm pretty sure it's actually in this. Yeah, Exhibit A. It's literally the PDF we uploaded. Isn't Exhibit A in the file? Also, if you notice, you don't have to actually spell anything correctly, although it does help sometimes. No, it's apps. Okay, stop searching. Stop searching. It's absolutely. What page is this? This is page 5. Page 5 and onwards in the PDF. How's our code coming? Our code's still coding. So important here, you see where it says this particular Python dev used up 116,000 tokens. That's what I was talking about. Like that's its memory and that's its currency. So it doesn't break it down well. It's like input tokens or output tokens or what have you. But input tokens, data you send to Anthropic cost a certain amount, and tokens sent back cost a different. It's the return tokens that cost the most. Oh yeah. Sometimes when it's doing a lot of work, it'll overwhelm the browser. I mean the terminal. So let's just go back to our other project while it's having its freak out session. Oh, it's over, but it's still coding. No, that's fine. I'm not gonna worry about it. I was just curious. What other interesting things can we ask about? Does the budget include a breakdown for the number of deputies at the question mark? See what you can find in external reports. Again, nothing from this can you just assume is accurate. You have to use this like I was taught to use Wikipedia. You use it as a summary and a thing to find sources, but you then go read those sources for yourself. Interesting. Oh, wow. is what I mean about going and reading it for yourself. Fascinating. All right, let's do a new project. Let's do something more technical. Python best practices. So the goal of this project is to develop a opinionated set of common in for AI agents to follow when working on Python projects. Nope. Our code needs a question. It wants to, I don't know why it does this sometimes. So rather than just creating a file directly, it wants to echo nothing into a file to create the file, but make it empty. And that's fine. But it has a tool specifically for doing that work where it won't ask me. So I don't. So we refer to the AI as being non-deterministic. It just does. And you can ask it to do something 2 or 3 times, and it'll do it 2 or 3 different ways. And it's back to its craziness. All right. Ooh, this is a good thing. So one of the more one of the harder things to get either Claude or ChatGPT to do is to ask you questions rather than to just go and do. So I think I've gotten relatively good at that. So let's take a swag at it. So also, I think I'm going to put this into deep research mode. Deep research is very, very useful. Curious. I thought I had already set up my connection to you. Sorry, I'm going to be off screen doing some configuration real quick. Oh, it wants me to. Fair enough. It's requiring me to set up MFA. Which is good. That's a good thing. Okay. Oh, okay. That's what that is. Gotcha. Well, I guess while I'm sitting here doing this, I can let y'all watch at least watch the terminal go by. What do y'all think of the groovy music? I like it. Okay. I think it's connected now. Okay. Alright, switch back. I want to develop a common set of All right, so here's the trick. So the first step is we're gonna get it to do a bunch of research. Then we're gonna do the interview part. Research online. Best practices with Python develop. Some heck that I know I want to use is UV, rough, pre-bit, bandit, I mean, get. What? Hi! Hey guys! Thanks for joining. Let's see here. So, best practice. Something I want to know. PyTest, Django, Fast API, Log Guru? Yeah, Log Guru. Yeah, that's good enough for now. All right, so a little bit about the deep research. It's going to ask me some questions to begin with. So, 1. Generic set. 2. All. 3. None of those. What I'm using AI for is to write the code. So this will be something included in an instructions file like Claude.md, Copilot, etc. Alright, 4. Do you want the research of how these tools are typically configured? And together as a common. I did not spell that. You know what? I bet it's gonna understand it either way. Send. So, the deep research thing here actually takes quite a long time for it to run. You don't have to. One of the things, I could close this window. I could go away from it. Like if I was on my phone doing it, I could close it. I like to do this when I know I'm going to have some downtime. So I can just kick this off and go do something else. I can go to bed. I can whatever. And then I can come back to it an hour later or whatever, and boom. So it's thinking about it. It's thinking about it. It's thinking about it. All right, let's go check on our code. So looks like it's 1, 2, 3, 4. It's on its 4th step. And it looks like it's 4 out of 8. No, 4 out of 10? 4 out of 10. Can I watch? Can you? You know. I don't know. Do you have a subscription? I can tell you it's hilarious. I almost wonder if they actually recorded the audio for ChatGPT because it sounds so close to the real thing. It's kind of freaky. So I was actually just having a conversation about this other day about how a developer would use this, let's see which way, this sort of tool on the command line and this sort of tool, right? Like the chat interface. Because the assumption was that a developer would only use something like this. And that this would be something for marketing or sales or what have you. And the truth is that both are useful. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll walk around, but I will use the voice chat feature of ChatGPT I'll have an idea. I'm like, oh man, I have an idea for a project or a feature or what have you, and I'll talk about it back and forth. I'll ask ChatGPT, I'm thinking about using X, Y, and Z technology. What would be the best practice for X? Is it possible to do Y? Should I use a document database for this? Should I use a vector database for that? Whatever. And we'll have a back and forth conversation. They'll give me options. I'll make some choices. And then in the end, I'll ask it to give it a summary of our conversation and the decisions we had arrived at. And then for some reason, I can't actually ask it verbally to do this. I have to exit the verbal part and then type and ask it to create a markdown file. And then I will take that markdown file, download it to my computer, and use that as the initial input for my process that I then run here in the terminal. And that is very effective because I can just have that sort of train of thought conversation at the speed of conversation with the AI, and then have it formulate that into a nice written document that I then continue on the work with. This is obviously the value in that increases with the knowledge of the person having the conversation. So this is another fine example of the AI wouldn't do a good job of just wholesale replacing an engineer, at least not yet, because I'm having a conversation with it. I'm asking it to go find options, discussing those options, and then making a decision based on my experience and knowledge and background. The South Park episode, hilarious, definitely shows the downsides. It's very reaffirming, even if you have a bad idea. It rarely, if ever, will tell you you're wrong. It'll also rarely, if ever, say it was wrong without you telling it that it was wrong. So one of the things I've discovered is that I'll have, whether it's Claude or any of these others, output a report in Markdown. I'll start a new chat. I'll give it the Markdown, and then I'll ask it something along the lines of, hey, my software engineer or my consultant or my architect or my whatever came up with this plan, this idea. Give it a review. Tell me what you think. Is there any holes in it? Is there any problems with it? And I'll sometimes do that and bounce ideas back and forth between like Anthropic and OpenAI, or ChatGPT and Claude. And it'll kind of do that refinement that us humans are pretty good at in a development team, where we can, I don't say tell each other either we're dumb, but it'd be like, hey, that's not a good idea. Have you considered X, Y, and Z? And then you can kind of go back and forth and explain why something might not be a good idea, why someone else thinks it is a good idea, and then you have to like defend your idea and explain your idea. And it's that sort of refinement of going back and forth and finding what the right answer is that most people kind of miss out of using the AI process. They just ask it once and go with its answer. You have to treat it like you would a person, and that we don't just absolutely trust most people, usually. Will consider their input against, our own lived reality and our own experiences and our own knowledge, and then we'll formulate a plan based on perhaps their input, as both a positive or a negative, and then act on it. The South Park episode shows of clearly why just simply asking it what should I do, and then just doing it, not the best. Oh, this didn't auto scroll, did it? So you can see here, it's going out, it's doing different searches, and then it's like, oh, I need to find this, oh, I need to read this, I need to read that. It's still going. It's found 18 sources so far. I guess it's about halfway done. Oh, we can watch the latest. Yeah, you got this. Shall I make a proposal for you? There's something about the inflections. I mean, you can obviously choose different voices and stuff for the voice chat in OpenAI or ChatGPT, but particularly the one that I use, and I think it's the same one that at least they were mimicking in the South Park episode. it's good, but it's kind of like uncanny valley situation where it's, if you're just walking up onto someone, like if I was just sitting there talking to my phone, you might think I was talking to a human. But if you used it and you've heard it before, you're like, that Chat GPT. And it's funny too, because I was actually listening to a presentation the other day of by somebody, and I realized that like I swear OpenAI must have used their voice for the training data because even like the inflection patterns, like I know they weren't using like a voice generator, like they were talking and I was listening to them, but just it was fascinating that like I recognized some of the similar inflections in their speech patterns that the OpenAI ChatGPT. For those who don't know, OpenAI is the company, ChatGPT is the product, Anthropic is the company, Claude is the product. So sometimes I'll flip-flop those words back and forth. I mean, oh, Claude needs us. Do you have to connect to the Claude and other AS, or does it connect automatically for your prompt? I can. Can you give me some more context to your question? I'm not sure if you. I don't understand what you're asking me. Sorry. I see it's doing that thing again where it wants to create an empty file and it's asking me for permission. And though sometimes I can get frustrated if it's very chatty, asking me for a lot of permission. No, it's did you have to connect the Claude and other AI service, or does it automatically for your prompt? I'm guessing you're talking about the tool that I use here. So this is Claude Code. It's a CLI tool. And the first time you log in, it'll ask you to authenticate to Claude.ai. And so it'll open a browser and it'll say, hey, do you authorize? And you said, yes. And then it closes and off to the races you go. I guess that's what you're at. So it is a remote thing. I am aware that there's some way to use Claude Code with other providers. I've not done that yet. I do also use VS Code and Copilot, but you can't get as it's doing that thing again. I'll spare you. Let's go check on this. Research complete. 7 minutes and 18 sources. Yes. Very cool. Oh, something else I'd like to point out is that something this just said. So where did it say? It said the AI should be guided to avoid these patterns that Bandit would catch. This is true. Ideally, the AI would just write code that is good to begin with. The same is true for humans, right? And in proper professional software development, we don't just assume that our humans are infallible, because as most people know, humans are not infallible. So if you use the same validation steps with AI that you do with humans, whether it be, proofreading, peer review, automated scans, and this could be for a report, it could be for a code, it could, whatever. Just think about it. If a human was producing, if a human employee or contractor was producing the thing that you're working on, what would you do with it, right? Like, would you look at it yourself? Would you hire somebody else to look at it? Would you send it off to some company for review? Would you send it off to an automation tool for review? Do that. Just treat it like output from a person that you may have made a mistake. So Claude Code is just an npm package. You just npm install -g, I think it's just Claude, and then you just run it from the terminal, and then you do that song and dance with I don't know if it's OAuth or whatever, and then the other tool that I use is Copilot in VS Code. And it is a similar thing where the first time I use it, it wants to authenticate to GitHub and to see that I, what subscription level I'm at. And the interesting thing about that is that from within GitHub Copilot, you can actually use OpenAI ChatGPT 5, or you can use the same thing that Claude Code here is using, which is something that I just can't think of right now because it's not on the screen. Sonnet. So you can use Sonnet in VS Code. The limiting thing that I find with VS Code is that I can't do the multi-agent. So far in here, you'll see that each one of these steps has been done by a different agent. That's the red blocks. One of the neater things when you're doing planning work, like you're saying, take this product requirements document and come up with an implementation plan or decide on an architecture, what have you. I could spin up 10 different agents running in parallel. One is a database expert, one is a Python expert, one is an API expert, one is a testing expert, another one's a DevOps sec expert, another one is an automation expert, another one is a code review expert, another, my point is you can have these 10 different agents, which each is a different employee, if you will, all creating their own analysis and their own plan. And then you can take that output, those 10 outputs, and then have 2 more agents, or 3 or 4 or whatever, all review all of those plans and offer their reviews of those plans. And then you can have, the way I like to do is take it to the next step is to then have 2 agents in parallel review all of the, I mean, you're talking, if you did 10 and then you did 3, that would be 30 plus 10, 40. So you're talking about 40 reports that these guys would analyze all their 40 reports and compile that into one output report. And so you end up with 2 output reports, and then you have another agent take those 2 output reports and parse it down to 1 output report. And then you have another 3 agents review that final output report. And then, so it's sort of like a fan out, fan in, fan out, fan in model. And you think about it just like you would a set of humans sitting around a table coming up with a plan for a big project. It's effectively the same, right? Like you'd sit around, you get input. You get input from the network guy. You get input from the desktop guy, the server guy, the software developer, and then just you mix it all together. And then once you've come up with your plan, you go back and say, all right, guys, this is the plan I've come up with. Shoot some holes in it. And then you do that a few times. Maybe you get a colleague that doesn't work with you, or just a friend or whatever. Hey, this is my plan. Can you shoot some holes in it for me? And you do that sort of iteration process a few times to get some feedback and refinement on it, and eventually you land at a plan that's actionable, that's understandable, that's it's comprehensive, and you run with it. by doing that work in Claude Code, I can do all those in parallel. I can't do that in VS Code. Another thing that you may be asking about is Claude's access to tools. So I don't know if you've been around long enough to see me interact with Redis. There's this technology called MCP. Let's see. It's called Model Context Protocol. And actually, that's an excellent. It's like a USB port for AI, and so I have an MCP server that's running for my Redis, and it presents a list of commands, inputs and outputs for Redis. So it doesn't actually need to understand Redis; it just needs to understand that these are the commands available to me. I wrote my own MCP server to do the name thing, right? So whenever it needs a random name, it just goes and asks the random name generator MCP server to generate it a random name. And that's actually a Python app that under the hood is saving those list of names to a SQLite database. And the point of that is just so that if two concurrently running Claudes ask for names at the same time, they get different names so that the reports have a different value in the key that it saves the Redis, and over time it won't reuse a name. So it just to be fair, I used AI to create the MCP server, and it found some data set out there that was like, I don't know, 1 million names, a million something names. So like if you just use the data set to grab a first name and in the data set to grab a second name, so that's a million to the millionth. Isn't that how that works? Anyways, I'm not good with math. But you see how there's so many combinations of those names, and I've seen it, like John Smith and Smith John, and even I think I have it set where it'll drop names off the list after a week or something. But I mean, I could probably use this for ages and never have to worry about running out of names. And you don't have to use names. Like you could use colors, you could use any of those naming schemes we used to use back in the day, and still sometimes do, like city names or Greek or Norse mythology. Like that was always my thing back in the day. The servers would all be like Thor, Odin, whatever. Just so I could remember, like, just us meatbags. We like names that we can easily pronounce and remember. Oh, so let's go back. Wow, this is a lot. This is very, very good, actually, I think. All right, so now I'm going to ask it to create a clean Markdown version that I can copy and paste into the file. No. But what we are going to do is snag that code for now. And we're going to... open AI v1.md. All right, almost want to guarantee. Yeah, it did. Okay. I really wish it wouldn't include stuff like that. Like when I ask you for a clean output, I want it. It's a clean output. I don't want all this other stuff. Thank you. Make sure it. Okay, cool. Well, no. We'll just leave that there. That's still cooking. And this is phase 2. It's fascinating how much code and work this thing will put into for just a simple MVP, but the reality is it can get to a state of an application that really does have a lot of things fleshed out in it already for an MVP that provides a pretty good starting point in the same, I don't say the same amount of time, maybe a little bit longer than if I just wrote it myself. Because if I wrote it myself, it would be so slim that to ever take it to the next step would require a significant amount of work. And that's why often my little silly MVPs that I come up with never make it to the next step. It's because it would be so much effort to go to the next step. It just... Let's see. Now this is what I was talking about earlier, about getting it to ask you questions. So let's get into that. So, looking at your so far, I want this to be very opinionated and detailed. Consider any options for other tooling, standards, processes, etc. that might be up for that might be that when using your instructions so far would need to be on when getting started. By any identify any decisions or questions needed to decide on a plan, to decide on a standard for our project, and ask me those questions. one at a time. Do not give me a list of questions. Only one at a time. If you have anything, something I've noticed over the years, or the weeks or whatever I've been working on this, is that anytime you have something that you really want to happen, you have to say it multiple times or say it in different ways. So like when I want the things to work in parallel, I'll say execute 5 agents in parallel at the same time, concurrently, at the same time. Because it's like talking to a person. If maybe they just didn't hear that part or didn't pick up that was important or whatever. But if you say it multiple times, it'll understand it's important. After each of my responses, consider how that changes your understanding and context, and ask any further clarifying questions needed. It came back way too fast. So that means it used the wrong model. So let's try this again. Let's add web search to it. Think deeply and think hard about each question and our resulting document. So the way ChatGPT 5 works is it used to be that you would ask it, like you could choose, do you want it to think long about something and really deeply reason, or do you want to get a response quickly and maybe not be as smart? With ChatGPT 5, it kind of does that automatically, and the way you trick it's not the right way. You get it to get into the hard thinking option is to tell it specifically, think hard, think deep. So let's see if it kind of ponders a little bit longer this time around. Yes, thinking longer for better answers. That's the key. Yeah, I need to ask one. Do you want to force a single source of truth? I want it to enforce UV as a single source of truth. All right, I don't need to do a search for each one of these. Also, Claude AI has a very similar, you can do research, and, Opus is longer, harder, and you can give it various different connectors. Yes. Oh man, I recognize this song. I like it. I think it's played just about every time I've done one of these things. Actually, I think it's what I've used for my recorded videos. So if you check out my YouTube, I've got that video. I've got 2 videos so far that I'm making a series on how to do this sort of work, and I've got a third that I've filmed most of, and I've got to edit and do a little bit more work on. So, hit that subscribe and like button. Haha. Yes. Oh man, I totally missed that comment. Yeah, Transformer names. Yeah, yeah. All right. So, let's go back, right? Like, Cloud Code's over here doing its thing. It's writing code. It's making Python, and it's doing the work, reviewing it, doing the work, reviewing it, doing the work, reviewing it, doing the work, reviewing it. Meanwhile, we're over here doing some other work. You know, it's opposite. This screen that you're looking at now is actually over here, to my perspective. Interesting. Yes. And be sure our in clearly calls out the clearly calls out that the AI should use conventional commits. Oh man, we're coming up on 2 hours. That's usually kind of my limit. One of these days, we're actually going to finish a project while I'm doing one of these streams. Yeah. Let's go with 80% global and 90% on change. And this is just one of those things that I've just learned the hard way. Having high test coverage sounds like a good idea, and it is a good idea. But the reality is that you can't. There are things that you just can't test, like structural data or structural code, or like the main file that then calls. Like there's going to be lines of code that just either it doesn't make sense to test, or you're going to make a test that is meaningless. So I want a high level, but I don't necessarily want it 100%. Yes. So what it's asking here is, do you want to do some security scans locally, and then do you also want to do them remotely? And the answer is yes. And it's the same reason we do this for humans, right? Like we're going to run it, we're going to force it to run locally so that our humans or meat bags don't have to wait for the automation to run to know that their code is bad. And we're going to enforce it in automation so that if for some reason that local run didn't happen, someone overrides it, someone just nefarious isn't the right word, but someone just jumps around the problem and says the heck with it, it doesn't matter, this thing is failing for nonsense. We still want it to get caught up in the cloud as an enforcement, or cloud in GitHub or what have you. So yes. Oh. Oh, this is cool. I'm excited to show you this. So one of the MCPs that I have installed on here is called Playwright. And Playwright is actually Chrome that it can be controlled by the AI. And so what happens is it'll start up Chrome, it'll tell it to go to a website, it'll click around on it and interact with it like a person, and it allows you to test and what your code it allows the AI to test web-based code, and it's really neat. I enjoy it. Me and my kids one afternoon wrote a web-based game. We call it was it Undersea Blaster or something? Again, it's in my GitHub. You can download and play it yourself. And it's kind of like a Space Invaders, like you slide back and forth and shoot weapons up at things that are falling down on the screen. And Playwright was like absolutely critical for that, because when I would try to describe to it the problem, it didn't quite understand what I was trying to tell it. And then when I got it to run Playwright and look at it, it goes, oh, I see what you're talking about now. Let me go fix that for you. So I'm going to tell it to don't ask again. Oh. Let's see. I'm trying to get it dragged over here so you can see it do things. And I guess you can kind of see in the background, so I'll just leave it like that. Oh, that's the other nice thing too, is that if there's console errors, but it's not necessarily like you see a problem in the UI, it'll automatically read those JavaScript console errors. And sometimes I've even had it like start up the app and let me click around and you watch for console errors and fix them. And it just does. Yes. I do want to say thank you all very much for whoever's still watching. Thank you for all the questions, and thank you for all the comments. It is very nice to actually, very encouraging to have someone actually comment and ask questions. What's the test job? Oh, look, you can see in the background the dashboard. Look at that. Can I just, yeah, there we go. So look at that. Isn't that cool? That's what it's going to look like. Very nice. Very nice. Oh, I'm not showing it to you. There we go. So there we go. There's our mocked up UI. I like it. I like it a lot. That's there's a running joke about purple. AI in general, it likes purple. I mean, I'm a fan of blue and purple, so I like most of what it makes. But it's cool. I'll just leave that in the background because this is kind of transparent, so you can kind of see it. Yeah, I don't care. You can do node commands without bugging me. All right. Static type chicken. What is, I'm not familiar with that. Oh, for Microsoft. Yeah, sounds good. I never thought I'd say this, but Microsoft makes some good open source tools. I can't stand their operating system, but there's another tool that I use a lot with AI work called Marketdown. Let's see, Marketdown. It's also made by Microsoft, and Marketdown will take any of these inputs and more and convert them into Markdown file for ingestion for use. For use in AI. 01. Where did that come from? I just got a chat from someone, and I have no idea where it came from. I've checked Twitch. I've checked YouTube. And I don't know. I don't know where that came from. But if whoever made that comment, I don't know if that was a question or what, but all right, next decision. Yeah, let's yes. Let's see. How's our development window going? Executing CSS responsive design agent. Maybe Python wasn't the right person to write this part, but you know what? Sometimes I've noticed that the non-Python agent, when writing something for like Django or FastAPI or what have you, that it'll do things that are not well suited for Python, but it is well suited for like Node development, and it doesn't do a good job of then merging it back in. So, yeah. Next decision, one at a time. Yes on Simver. And oh, I didn't switch all over. There you go. Save this as a question to be answered another time. So the answer is that's kind of depends. And what I'm thinking about doing is that question, its context is squarely on the fact that you're writing a like a Django app or something. And what I actually want to do when I'm done with this is actually write something for that kind of builds on top of this that's specifically for Django apps, and then builds on top of this specifically for Fast API apps, and build on top of this specifically for CLI apps, that sort of thing, right? CI. Oh. CI. Because each app is going to get deployed in different ways. Uh-huh. Yep. Yep. Yes. Yes. Oh, and Claude wants us to... He wants to echo another blank file. Go for it, bud. How are we doing on time? Oh, we've busted past the 2-hour thing. Yes. However, keep this generic and not anything Django. Can't spell. How we doing over here? Still cooking. Look at that, we're burning through 100 plus thousand tokens a go. So the context window for this app is, I think, 250,000. So it's using somewhere around half, a little over, a little less for each one of these. And that's why keeping them each in a separate sub-agent works so well, because you don't have to worry about blowing up context windows for a long, complicated project. Yes. So basically, I want to be able to take whatever we write in Python and publish it. And even if it's something I don't intend to publish, just start there, because it's good. It's good. It's something good to follow. It's just a good standard to follow. I thought for a little bit more than 6 seconds. Oh, there we go. Yes. However, let's go with 1K. Whoop, 1K lines changed. Yes. And like I said before, it's surprisingly hard to actually get it into this whole like question and answer style. But it forces you to think about things in chunks as opposed to just trying to write this gargantuanly long prompt and then go, oh gosh, I forgot about that, and then adding to that, and then adding to that, and then adding to that. You can just, I mean, you can still write a gargantuanly long prompt to start off with, and then it'll even get into more minutiae and details. Cloud. No, not Claude. Cloud. Yes. Starting to notice it's getting a little wonky, so I'll learn the hard way on this. I think what I'm going to do is actually pause it and ask it to kind of update its original document and give us where it is so far. So I was working on something, I think it was last week, and I did this same sort of like ask me questions, and it asked me questions. I mean, it asked me questions for hours. And something happened in that conversation that just it just got to the point where it couldn't remember. Basically, I filled up its context window, and I couldn't get it to give me the information that we had generated. This looks good. Let me go ahead and get this saved. I don't want to lose it. So OpenAI v2.markdown. I've learned the hard way to keep these and keep them all. And most people are like, why don't you just put it in a Git repo and do versioning that way? And it's like, this is just a scratch pad that will compile all these into a final report. Yeah. And you see, this is a good example. See, like, it literally just like same as before. So that means it just is like, this is what I would add if I was adding it, but it didn't include all the original. And so I'll just, oh, you didn't see that. So here's what I'm talking about. So it didn't, it just, you know, quote unquote, added this stuff and then left out the AI specific rules. So if I just overwrote this, it would be missing all of that. Oh, yeah. See, it's starting to get a little weird. Even the UI is starting to break. Yeah, this is my cue right here. This page is slowing down Firefox. It's close to the end. There's not much more it could do without breaking. I guarantee you from now on every question will get like that from here on out. It's just something I've noticed. But we got what we wanted so far. Okay. So we've been going now for almost 2.5 hours. And I haven't written any Python code or HTML or CSS or what have you. And you can see in the background here the UI of our app. And it's still going. It's still writing. It's still doing things. And I mean, it's got caching to Redis. It has hardening for security purposes. It has all kinds of features that I probably wouldn't have even thought about until we got into like the actual let's use this stage. And it's already here. It's there from the beginning, so we don't have to worry about having coded ourselves in a corner where it's going to be such a big deal to get ourselves out of that corner. Oh, OpenAI finally came to a conclusion. I don't. Okay, so we'll just. Oh, did we get a message? We got a message. It's the crazy frog. Hopefully the audio is better this time around. So we're going to vim OAV4 MD, insert that, and remove the cruft. All right, so now that we have this information that we've gotten out of OpenAI, what do we do with it? How do we compile this into one file that's usable? So, I'll compress this a little bit for time, but what I would usually do here is actually now I would jump over to Claude AI and do the exact same thing. So I would ask it to basically give me the exact, you know what, I'll just, why tell you when I can show you. Well, first, right, so let's give it the same information, because you could do the same. Claude also has the concept of projects, right? So you can say Python standards for AI. Per project. And we will give it the same instructions. And we can even I'm trying to think what's the best way of doing this. If I just copy that full path. What? Okay, well, apparently it's going to make me do ClickUps. That's fine. And we're just going to open all of them. Now, I will say one thing that I really like about Claude over OpenAI for this particular bit of work is that when I upload files in Claude, I can actually go read them. I can see them. When you do the same thing in OpenAI, it's like it's like creating a GitHub secret. What you got is what you got, and you'll never get it back out again. I just realized that my camera light just went off. Whatever. It's fine. We'll be okay. We're going to turn on the research button. We're going to tell it to be formal, because I think that's what you want for this sort of document. And we're going to go all the way back to the original. Come on. Come on. I'm telling you, it gets weird when it gets this long. There we go. Okay. So yeah, now we're good. So we're going to give it and let it ride. So let's go back over here to the terminal. To give you an example of doing this with Claude Code, review the markdown files in the current working and yeah, Bruno, and create a singular file that includes all of the content of those input files without any duplication. I don't think I need to give it much context here. I literally just want it to take all of it and compile it into one. It doesn't need to know what it's talking about, what it's doing, or how to do it. We'll put it in plan mode. Switch back over here. You see it's actually gone through and read a bunch of stuff. And look at that. Very nice. It's still thinking. Claude's still thinking. Woo-hoo. I'm not gonna sing for you. I'm really genuinely awful at that. I bet I know what happened to the camera light. I bet it's the one cable I unplugged earlier. No? Yep. All of the cables I chose to unplug. I unplugged the one cable that's actually doing something. Alright. Let's I'll let you just follow along with that while I get this turned back on. Hopefully I won't be quite so washed out now. It's almost too much. This guy probably needs to be down just a hair. There we go. Oh man, I forgot my cool accent lighting. Ooh, what do you think? What do you think, chat? Does that look better? All right. Oh wait, you know, I have two of them. Ooh. There we go. Now I seem like a real professional. All right. Yes. How's old Cloudy Cod coming over here? Yep. Oh man, it is. Woo. Loads of stuff. Very nice. Very detailed and exactly what I asked for. Can't spell. I don't know why Cloud Code over here is taking so long to do the one thing. Okay. What's it want to do? Yeah, sure. Whatever. Send it. Just make the file, man. Just make the file. What's taking you so long? What did I name this thing? Yeah, there it is. Yeah, Bootstrap. Okay. Vim. What is this? Claude. I'll call it anth v1.md. and we will put its contents over here. There we go. How does that look? Yes, very nice. I feel like this is the scene from The Matrix. I don't even see the code. But yes, I actually can review documentation that quickly. I can't give you like a blow for blow, but I can usually spot out the information that I'm looking for, or problems or whatever. I'm not like ingesting the information, but I am seeing that it's all there. Yep, there we go. Okay, well, that's good. What's next? How's Claude coming over? Man! Air handling and resilience. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Wait. 1, 2, 5. Oh. 6, 7, 8, 9. I think it's got one more. Oh, it's doing that thing. Okay. So we're going to clear this. So again, clear just wipes out the entire context window. We have a new employee that just walked in the door. They don't even know about our company. They don't know about our project. They don't know anything. We gotta tell it. So what I want to do now is I want it to review. Okay. Actually, I think two contractors have now consultants have created draft documents for this. They are at Unified Guidelines and at ANTS V1. View them and create a comp document that includes without duplication. Yeah, we'll just do the same thing again. What I'll do next is actually demonstrate the whole parallelism thing, and I think it'll be really cool. Weird. I got a warning saying that there's some sort of issue with my music, but it shouldn't be. It's a license for streaming. Oh, that's hard to look at. Why is it calling the reporter subagent? Come on. When I started this, I really didn't think it would take 2.5 hours to get to the end of this. And this is only phase 2. We've still got, I want to say, 2 more phases to complete the MVP on this. Well, I think I'll probably not be able to show this to the end once again. But I am gonna hang around for a few more minutes if anyone has any questions that they're interested in. Please leave a comment. Heard the Claude ding. Okay. I'm not entirely sure what just happened, but it definitely did not do what I wanted it to. Save the new version as unified v2.md. All right, it's trying to save a report. So that means it's about to move on to the next step. Interesting. So, out of the corner of my eye, a few times I've seen in OBS Studio over here this weird artifacting happening, where it's like screen tearing or whatever. Oh, there, it just did it again. I wasn't sure if that was actually making it to the stream or not, and I finally see that it is. I have no idea. It's not happening on my screen. It looks fine on my screen. It's something to do with the way OBS is capturing it. Yes. You know what? Let's just close that background task. Maybe that'll keep that stuttering from happening. Also, Claude Code does include this tip thing down here, and that is very helpful. I have learned a lot from that. All right, so we moved on from error handling over to comprehensive test suite implementation. Actually, let's switch over here and ask Claude for something. Now, like, for you to research Django best practices. I don't know why I can't. I know why I can't spell that, because I can't spell. I now like you to research Django best practices. While the previous document focused on general Python projects, I'd like the next one to focus on Django. The idea would be that both files would be included in a Django project for AI consumption. As such, no need to include anything that is already covered by the generic Python version. Some things to consider are all auth. Oh gosh, I can't think of the name of the project. Trying to look up some of the things I've used on other projects. Go cookie cutter. the setup that using cookie cutter Django creates I feel like that's not right, but whatever. Full send. We'll get there eventually. All right. Now, before we hit the 3-hour mark, let me demo this fan out thing, fan out fan in thing. So, okay, so let's clear this. Have 5 sub agents review unified v2 and make recommendations for improve they should save their reviews to Redis. Something else, when you're stringing together the stuff, I found that even though it results in terrible English, it's best to just run on sentence it. The agents should include, let's see, docs, architect, Python dev, Python Pro, architect, reviewer, and I'll leave one and one more of your choice. Once the sub agents have completed their reports, compile their findings into one comprehensive report and save that to Redis as well. Save a list of the reports and their Redis keys to reports.md. Oh, y'all missed all that, didn't you? So what we got going on here now? I've asked it to use 5 at the same time. I put it in plan mode. Yeah, that seems reasonable. Yeah, go do that. Man, it's written 598 lines of code. So this is where oh shoot. I just realized. I forgot to include one very important instruction. Ensure that the agents run concurrent at the same time to save time. Now it's going to plan it again, but that's fine. It doesn't like to run things in parallel unless you really explicitly tell it to. That's funny. Okay. All right. Let's just start from scratch here because it got really confused. You're in plan mode. Just okay. All right. For some reason now it doesn't want to make a plan. It just wants to go and do it. And considering this is all just planning, it's not that big of a deal. So we'll just let it ride. How's our coding company? Oh, it's almost done. It's almost done. All right, so here we go. Now we can start to see the simultaneous at the same time, the in parallel processing here. So you got these 5 guys running all at once. How's Claude doing over here? Oh wow, it's still thinking. Whoa! 646 sources and counting. Wow. That's a lot. I mean, how long would it take me to sit here and find all these sources? And then parse them and understand them and decide their value. Oh, think we're done. I mean, it's not done, but it's completed all the stages, and now it's just doing a final check of everything. Alright, so Python Dev is done, Architect Reviewer is done, Code Reviewer is done, Python Pro and Docs Architect still clicking. Oh! Okay, so commit. Create a new branch. Commit is pending changes. Push to GitHub and open a pull request. I don't remember if I was on a new branch or not, but that's fine. We'll do that now. Looks like it's almost done. And look, it did all that work. All of that multi-stage of development and coding and all that kind of stuff, and we're just now starting to get to the end of our context window. And it's already done the work, right? It's already completed the coding. Right now, it's just committing and pushing. And it's going to include quite the pull request details. Docs Architect still thinking. Sixty-three. So, have 4 sub-agents review pull request 63 in GitHub for this repo. The agents should run in parallel at the same time, concurrently. Important. Do not make any code changes. Should report any issues via making comments on the pull request. Also, the agents should also save their findings in Redis. And I'm glad I don't have to get perfect spelling for this to work. There's always got to be one guy who can't quite figure out how to do something right. So here's another fine example of running these in parallel. Well, either way, it doesn't look like I'm going to be working much longer because starting to hit my limits. Hmm. Let's create a V3. We're on V3, right? Yeah, V3. using the docs architect of unified v2 using the feedback identified in the reports listed in reports. Let's cancel that and get us a new context window before we do it. Let's see what this looks like. What's this thing called? FormToForge. So I will show you what this looks like. So first, we have the pull request information. It's pretty detailed. Then Copilot did its own review. Sarah Williams. Yeah. That's very cool. So here's one thing I can do here is just say at Copilot review all the comments and make any and fix any major or urgent issues. And so now what Copilot's actually going to do using GitHub Actions is check this code out, look at the comments, and then actually do change the files. And I'm probably going to wrap it up here soon. But what is it? Review the comments on pull request 63 and create a multi-step plan to remediate any issues. Each step should be completed by a specialized sub-agent. There we go. All right. I think we're gonna call it here. Oh, I will show you this though before I go. I think we overwhelmed old Claude here. It finally just gave up the ghost and stopped working. I'll probably try this again later. I don't want to eat up any more of my tokens before the other work is completed for the night. And hopefully this guy can just ensure your plan includes enough detail and context that a junior developer could complete the work. Oh, there's something wrong with Copilot. It never did pick up that task I gave it. That's fine. We'll just let Claude handle it. Alright, now I've said multiple times that I'm almost done. And this time I mean it. This has been epic. I usually keep these to 2 hours. It's now been almost 3.5 hours. So if you're still hanging, thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe. I try to do these at least once a week. I try to release one edited video once a week, but I didn't get one last week. So subscribe, follow, all the good song and dance that everyone else asks you to do. And I'll see you next time. And where's it at? Where's my outro? Gotta get ready. So, thanks for coming. Thanks for watching, and happy coding.